Hello, my name is Keith Bailey. With the Hall of Fame game being played yesterday, I figured it was right to end my power rankings. I did 16 through 9, last video I did, and I'll just read them off here in my notebook. Number 16, I had the Steelers, 15 was the Ravens, 14 was the Chargers, 13 was the Bears, 12 was the Panthers, 11 was the Bengals, 10 is the Chiefs, 9 was the Cardinals. Number 8, I have the Philadelphia Eagles, a team that, out of the Ashes last year, they had a 3-5 record. They rattled off and won 7 of their next 8 games. Nick Foles, he's the real deal. He really showed it the tail end of the season, too. He wasn't able to get it done against the Saints, but a lot of that had to do with the defense. When you let a team like the Saints drive into field goal range with time left on the clock, you should be playing for the field goal. You should, at that point, just let them score. Because Philadelphia, you have a high-powered offense, and if you get enough time on the clock, you'll be able to get the ball and do something with it. I mean, that's just my take on it. My take is on a third down or something, or whatever the case, the Saints, when they got in the field goal range, the Eagles should have just let them score. That way the Eagles would have a chance to get the ball back with something to do with it, as opposed to the ball on like the 5-yard line with the Saints kicking a game-winning 20 or so yard field goal. I mean, that was a bad coaching, but I'm going to give Chip Kelly a little more credit than that because, to his credit, he did have a very high-powered offense. As for this season, people know about Nick Foles now. I apologize, my allergies are driving me up the wall. The Philadelphia Eagles, they're a very good team, and the NFC East is arguably one of the worst divisions in football, and it has been for the past couple years. No team has won a division with more than a 10-6 record since the 2009 Dallas Cowboys. Your other division winners are as follows. In 2010, it was the 9-7 Giants. 2010 was the 10-6 Eagles. 2011 was your 9-7 Giants that went on to win the Super Bowl. 2012 was the Redskins, and 2013 was the Eagles. None of them had more than a 10-6 record. And I think they're going to do pretty well this year. The Cowboys are going to be on their heels a little bit, and I think the Giants are going to be on their heels a little bit as well. And who knows with the Washington Redskins? They're wishy-washy. They went 10-6 one year, they go 3-13 the next. So the Redskins have to show me who they are. So that's the Eagles. So number 7, I have the Indianapolis Colts. I like what the Colts are doing. I really like their head coach, Chuck Pagano. Andrew Luck, man, he's the real deal. They had a very solid second season in a bounce-back way. They got creamed by the Baltimore Ravens in the 2012 NFL playoffs. Ravens en route to their second Super Bowl title. The Colts did not let that happen again in the wild card round. They came back from 38-10 to beat the Kansas City Chiefs at home, and they went on to give the Patriots a little bit of a fight until the middle of the third quarter, in which the Patriots started pulling away. But the Colts are going to be able to compete with teams like this. The one thing that they have to avoid, which cost them a lot last year, are questionable games. For example, they got blown out by the Cardinals. They got their doors blown off by the Rams. They let the Chargers walk all over them. When you have questionable losses like that, coupled with interesting wins against the Niners, Broncos, and Seahawks, those are your 3 best teams in the league right there. But then you get the Colts who lose to teams like the Rams, Cardinals. Those are good teams, but they got blown out by them. But the Colts just have to stay consistent, and they're going to be in this division hunt, one of the worst divisions in football. They're going to be at the top for quite a while. The rest of it, to let the chips fall where they may within that division, but teams are progressively getting better. NFC West was pretty bad a couple of years ago, but look at it now. I mean, that's all it takes. Number 6, I have the Patriots. New England. They're going to be... Their last Super Bowl win was 10 years ago. I mean... Or excuse me, 9 years ago. Super Bowl 39 against the Eagles. They won 24-21 in Jacksonville Stadium. But other than that, the New England Patriots, they're known now for just either getting to the Super Bowl and losing it, or losing the AFC Championship game. They're always the second best team in that conference. There's always a team that's better than them that can never beat. Or they'll just go to the playoffs and they'll drop a dud like they did in 2009 against the Ravens at home, or 2010 against the Jets at home. A couple of weeks after the Patriots whipped them 45-3, by the way. But other than that, the New England Patriots need to get their heads out of their butts, and Tom Brady needs to secure his legacy by winning one more Super Bowl. But the question is, will they be able to do it? Because he's getting old. Number 5, I have the New Orleans Saints. This team is good. The Bengals are a carbon copy of them, but the Saints are better than the Bengals in my opinion. Both are carbon copies in which both went 8-0 at home, but both went 3-5 on the road. The New Orleans Saints had some duds on the road. They lost to the Jets, they lost to the Rams, they lost to the Patriots in a game in which they had, and they got creamed by the Seahawks. I mean, there's not much else to say other than the fact that the Saints, the only way they're going to get higher on this list, with 4 spots remaining, is they need to win on the road. They're good at home, yes, we know that. But on the road, that's different. Number 4, I have the Green Bay Packers. A team that I think has the ability to make a serious run this year. Aaron Rodgers was injured last year. We saw how valuable he was to that team. Matt Flynn came in relief, and he did an okay job. But regardless, the Green Bay Packers have a running back now. Their offensive line needs still a little bit of work. They have receivers, and Aaron Rodgers is still one of the most productive quarterbacks in this league. But that defense needs to be they need to work on the defense a little bit, and we're going to find out a lot about them come week 1 when they play the Seahawks. That's going to be a big game. Number 3, I have the Broncos. They lost the Super Bowl. They got creamed in the Super Bowl, but to the Seahawks' credit, I don't think anyone was going to be at Seattle on that day, or even come close to it. The Seahawks played lights out in that entire game, and there was nothing the Broncos could do about it. But Denver made some key acquisitions in the offseason. One of the most notable acquisitions was DeMarcus Ware from the Dallas Cowboys. He's now a Denver Bronco. That is going to be a big help to their defense. And they also made other acquisitions as well on the defensive side of the ball, which is where they struggled last year. But when you have Peyton Manning putting up that many points that quickly, your defense is going to see the field a lot. So, statistically speaking, you can't nail them too much. Number 2, I have the 49ers. Whoever won that the NFC Championship game was going to beat the Broncos, in my opinion. The 49ers are a very good ball club, and they reeled off 8 straight games after a 6-4 start, and then they finally lost to the Seahawks in Seattle in a very good, close game, in what I think was one of the best games of the entire year. But 49ers, you know they're going to be back. And you know, given their success the last 3 years, 13-3, 11-4-1 in a Super Bowl appearance, and 12-4, they're going to win at least 10 games. That's my take on it. Their floor is 8-8. Their ceiling is, I would say, 14-2. I think they're that good. But number 1, the Seattle Seahawks. In my book, unless you're the 2012 defending Super Bowl champion Baltimore Ravens, which I was never gonna put at one after the off season that they had, I was gonna drop them a couple notches. But most of the time, I do not knock off the defending Super Bowl champion from the one spot until they lose a game. That's how I roll. The exception was that last year the Ravens were 9-7, and they lost a lot of players that offseason, so I had to knock them down. I'm lenient with it, but with the Seattle Seahawks, they're going to be a very good team this next year. Let's see if they can. There's a curse. The defending Super Bowl champion hasn't won playoff game the next year for quite some time now. A lot of people say, "Oh, I think this Super Bowl champion's going to buck that trend," or "I think this Super Bowl champion's going to buck that trend." Well, I'm not going to say anything about the Seahawks. My head is telling me they're going to make the playoffs with ease, but as a football fan, my gut is telling me that I just have a feeling they're going to miss the playoffs. I don't know what it is. Call me crazy. I know it sounds absolutely crazy, but the Steelers missed the playoffs after their Super Bowl win in 2008. They lost to teams like the Chiefs, the Raiders, and the Browns that year, back in 2009. The Saints lost to the 7-9 Seahawks the year after they won the Super Bowl in the playoffs. Call me crazy, but especially in the division they play in, my gut is telling me that they're going to miss the playoffs. But I'm probably wrong. I'm just going to say that. My head is telling me there's no way in hell the Seahawks are missing the playoffs, but the NFC is so competitive that you never know. But those are my power rankings. Before the season starts, I will do my regular season predictions. And until then, everyone stay safe. I'll see you one more time before I'm off to SUNY Cortland, and then I will try to do as many videos as I can once I get to SUNY Cortland. It's going to be tough with all my studying, but I'm going to give it a try. So if I have to squeeze everything into into one video or two videos, cut me a little bit of slack. I'll be a busy kid. All right. Stay safe, everyone. Please subscribe, and peace out.